Hey everyone, I'm Maximilian, and welcome to episode 4 of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike: The Online Warrior.
It's over.
So if you guys didn't get the chance to check it out, episode 3 of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike: The Online Warrior was covering a topic that I was really curious about, the overall community's impressions and feelings towards Third Strike being released in its current age, amongst Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs. Capcom, games of that sort, and Street Fighter 3 being a big difference and a big change amongst that. My question was, how is the transition phase? For those players that are moving in from Street Fighter 4 or other modern-day fighting games, I was curious how you're faring against the new system. How does it feel in comparison? Do you like it? Is it complicated? Have you quit already? And surprisingly enough, I got quite a few responses. In combination of the impressions that I got from the initial video, which went up on Machinima about a week ago, and on my channel a few days ago, I was pretty shocked by the overall impressions of the players and the comments of the folks that have been checking out these videos. It might be the fact that most of you guys are just enjoying Third Strike and you're watching the videos and it's natural bias of Third Strike fans, but I was really shocked to see that a lot of folks from Street Fighter 4 and a lot of players in general were very welcoming to the Third Strike system. If anything, I thought it was going to be one of those situations where, you know, there's a lot of like gloating involved for Third Strike players. A lot of people that love Third Strike are like, they don't like Street Fighter 4, they don't like the modern age fighting game. I mean, even I have my gripes, but I still find them fun. But at the same time, I didn't think the Street Fighter 4 audience would latch on to Third Strike very quickly, if not at all. I thought it was going to be a huge stretch. I thought like leniency of the inputs being removed from Street Fighter 4 and just being normal in this game, and the fact that combos are legitimately pretty hard to do if you want to pull off some crazy stuff in this one. I thought that was going to be a huge turnoff. I thought all these things are going to make the Street Fighter 4 audience just go straight down the canyon and never try to crawl back up to play what I think is one of the most fun fighting games out there. But believe it or not, a lot of people seem to be really welcoming and open and receiving to Third Strike, and it just blew my mind to read that. I started in Street Fighter 4, like a guy explaining he started in Street Fighter 4, he started in 2009, and he absolutely got into Street Fighter. Loves it, loves the community, loves everything about the fighting game scene, but at the same time goes into Third Strike and then absolutely loves it as well. So it's one of those things where I'm thinking that fighting games in general, once you get the hang of how fighting games are, like fighting games are a game that requires almost more dedication and skill than most others. When you get to these high competitive games like shooters, games like certain racing games, games like RTS games and stuff like that, I'm shocked to hear that players have They expect to be good like right when they go in, and for the general audience, it's kind of like that. They just go in and they expect to be good, and they just get romped and they never play it again. And that was the big problem with Third Strike, is that the barrier of entry for this game is huge. It's just gigantic, and the difference between a newcomer to a mid player, like a person that's pretty good at the game and understands it, which I consider myself at, and then the person that's a high tier, a person that plays the game competitively at tournament level and understands absolutely everything about it and all the matchups, the chasms between each of those barriers is huge in Third Strike. Like, I have no problem going against people that are relatively new at Third Strike. I find it an absolute blast going up against people that are mid-level, and I think that's some of the most fun. But going up against guys that are like extremely high tier, like for example in this video I go up against Gutex and get totally rocked. I actually went up against J.R. Rodriguez for a set of like 20 games, and I don't even know if I took one, to be honest. The dude is just so good. It takes this certain level of playing Third Strike for that long of a time, for like a 9 to 10 year span, really gives you the chance to just break every little thing open about the game. And once you understand it, it's kind of crazy. It's this whole level of understanding that is different than modern day fighting games, because to be honest, Street Fighter 4 only came out in 2009. And all things considered, it's been out for 2.5 years almost. And to think that, for the console version at least, and to think that like Third Strike and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and CVS 2, these games had like arcade shelf lives of nearly 10 years. And it was that long, like people were still breaking things open. People were like, oh, check out this, crazy thing in Third Strike you can do with charge partitioning. Check out this insane thing you can do in CVS2 with roll canceling, and I'm not even going to get into the stuff in Marvel 2. It just blows my mind that players, they never had the chance to break open Street Fighter 4 to a certain degree, although the current age we live in is a lot different. The exposure of media and the exposure of information is so much more bigger than it was, you know, even 5 years ago with these older fighting games. So I'll give it that learning Third Strike is going to be a lot easier in the current day and age than it was back in the day. So it's just an opinion, and I'm just excited that fans of modern day Street Fighter, like Street Fighter 4 system, are enjoying this game. Like, I absolutely love it, and it makes me really excited to think that if Capcom sees that fans are enjoying these kind of style of games, that there could be more of them. Like, we can actually see HD remakes of Darkstalker games, like Vampire Savior. Who knows? I mean, I would love to see Alpha 2 or Alpha 3 remixed, not even remixed, just, you know, given a little bit of an upscale graphics with GGPO, just given kind of the same treatment as Third Strike. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to get into was the DLC, and you might be noticing that the existing DLC for this game, the big one that made a lot of hoopla, is the fact that the first DLC was a color swap. It gave you several different variant colors for all the entire cast that did not exist in any form of Third Strike beyond this one. If you played the originals, there was a preset color palette, and then in the console version on PlayStation 2, there was another color palette you got, which was really cool. I like that one a lot. And in this one, they give you a completely different one. And to be honest, like, some of them are a little, like, off the wall. I'd actually argue that the one that you saw me using with Ken earlier, which is with the dark black gi and the white hair, I saw that at first and I'm like, they freaking made a costume for me. Thank you, Capcom. Like, my god. And then I realized, oh, it's like a Dante variant. Okay, that's still cool. It's still awesome looking in my opinion, but a lot of other ones for like Ken, like with the black gi, are a little goofy. I'm not too big of a fan of the color costume pack, but I can understand where people are getting a little upset about it because it is a kind of lackluster. It's nice to see something different in a game that, you know, I was used to seeing the same for so long. So I accept it. I bought it just because I really like that Ken variant. But at the same time, it would have been way better if they actually put in a color edit mode. And for some older players, you would remember that there was a color edit mode in CVS2, and it was totally awesome. Like, you can make some insane color edits in CVS2, and there was some really inventive stuff that people came up with back in the day. But in regards to other DLC, I think it's been mentioned before, but I think the background layouts for Third Strike are still similar to Double Impact and New Generation, the first two Street Fighter 3 games. And if they took those backgrounds and put them into Third Strike, that'd be awesome. Like, I think that's one of the best things they can possibly do for DLC, although it might be somewhat of a technical nightmare. So don't be too surprised if something like that doesn't show up. Other than that, the matchmaking for the game seems to have improved quite a bit. At the same time, it's kind of bugging me. I'm wondering how I should change my GGPO settings, if I should set my setting counter from, like, I think I'm at 1 right now, or put it at 2, because a lot of things have been kind of even bugging me during the actual live gameplay, not just the matchmaking itself, and it's that hit confirming under GGPO can be a pain in the butt sometimes, because I didn't realize how much I relied on sound to hit confirm. The sound of the move connecting to the opponent and the sound of it hitting, and then reacting right after. And sometimes in GGPO, as you guys are probably familiar, it will give you the sound of a hit, although it didn't hit. It'll sometimes give you the sound of a KO, and it didn't KO. It's really goofy. I'll do like a crouching short jab short, and I'll go into super because it sounded like the short jab short actually hit, but on the screen at the end, the guy was in hit stun, and then he goes into block stun, and it turns out it didn't hit. Crazy creepy, and it's something you just gotta get used to with online play. So, other than that, Third Strike Online is still a ton of fun. If you guys have any questions in regards to Third Strike gameplay, any tips or advice a mid-level player like myself can possibly help you into getting more associated with Third Strike, please let me know in the comments. I'll be doing a special Q&A section in the next video of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, the Online Warrior. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.